Okay, welcome to this week's show host series. I have a very orange glow. I'm in a special room in our co-working space, and I know that it seems very vibey and cozy, but it's fun for me to show you how much simple things like being in a different room, maybe with different lighting or different atmosphere or different sound, can really change the medium of the message that you're sharing with your audience. And this goes for podcasting, this goes for YouTube shows, this goes for maybe more special messages or announcements, depending on, it could be for digital courses or for master classes. I think it's valuable to see, hopefully as a show host, as a talent in making media, that you're not locked into one feeling once you've branded a show. There's purpose to branding, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But I think it's even more valuable to realize that with like a very simple scene change or lighting change or audio change, you can create a whole different feeling if you have a specific message you want to share with your audience. So branding, obviously, if you're watching this, you know, is a very big part of podcasting and media creation for show hosts. And part of it is helping people feel connected to you, like you're trustworthy, that they can build relationship with you, even though it's a one-sided, when you publish a piece of media out onto the internet, like it's not like the whole audience was there live. It's very different than live TV or live radio. However, when you establish the visual and the audio brand of your show, it's very helpful to think through the feeling that you're communicating, and that's subconscious, right? Like subconsciously what you think about me right now, because I'm in this like orange light and it's kind of cozy and you don't know where I am. Like maybe I'm in Scandinavia, maybe I'm in America, maybe it's super late at night, maybe it's really early in the morning, maybe it's the middle of the day. It happens to be 2:45 in the afternoon and it's a sunny nice day outside and I'm in America. But you wouldn't know that from watching this video, right? Like this video can communicate whatever it needs to communicate to you, depending on how I want to brand it. And so I think it's helpful for you to understand that and to understand you actually have a lot more power than you may think as a show host. Sometimes as the talent, it can be really easy to feel like I just have to do whatever my team tells me, my producer, my editor, maybe, your friend who watched one of your videos or listened to an episode and is like, I think you should do it this way. It's easy to think like I just have to do what other people tell me is a good idea. And sometimes that is a good idea. Sometimes it's a very good idea to listen to outside feedback, because there's absolutely blind spots that as a show host you won't be able to see without listening to the feedback from your production team or your inner circle. And there's other times where it may be totally appropriate for you to make a call and say, hey, we have a special message to deliver, and I think we need to brand it differently, and it needs to look different or it needs to sound different. And we need to let our audience know, like, this message is different. And that may be really a positive thing, like an exciting thing, like an announcement or a preview or a pivot or a big change or a milestone reached. Or it might be something more serious or somber, like maybe you've decided to sunset your show. Maybe you're announcing your season finale. Maybe you are letting them know something personal has happened in your life that's going to take you away for a little bit, or has had you, have second thoughts and want to open a new chapter. Like, there's so many reasons as a show host for you to communicate honestly with your audience, and branding, both visual and audio, is a really powerful way to do that. I think in an age of social media saturation, because we've been in this for over a decade now with social media, it's easy to feel just by pure, bombardment of how many videos we see posted every single day that there's only a certain proper way to look or deliver messages online, but there's not. There's a way to do it that's appropriate to the message you're sharing. And so you've heard me say this before, like your medium should match your message, not the other way around. But I think that I want you to just be really emboldened and feel like confidence, yes, but also permission that if you have something to say that's maybe a little different than other people in your space, maybe you're starting a new show and you're like, I think that the audio or the video maybe needs to have a little different quality because of like the approach we're going to take with this conversation. It's maybe a little unexpected and we want to signal that. the most effective way to do that is how you actually visually and orally brand your podcast or your YouTube show. Yes, the show artwork matters and the copy that you write, the voice you write in about, but most of the time, the vast majority of hours that your audience will spend with you won't be looking at your podcast artwork or reading your emails or your show notes. It'll be listening to your voice and maybe watching your face. Spending less time watching, but definitely doing a reference point and checking in. So I wanted to give you some food for thought about branding, starting with sort of you have permission to switch up the audio and video, and it doesn't mean go crappy. You might have plenty of opinions about this orange light and this sound quality. I wasn't trying to make it pristine and awesome. I was just let me quickly record the weekly video and go into a different space where you can kind of maybe pay attention in a different way because I'm looking and sounding different. But I also want you to take it a step further with branding. And once you've kind of gotten the vibe that matches your message for maybe the look and sound, I want you to really think about how you deliver the content. Because sometimes when you have a message that's a little different from what your audience is expecting, whether that's a new show who's going to have a different conversation about a known topic, or whether you're a known show and you're having a different conversation about the topic, and this is going to be a surprise to your audience, I think branding can help signal, familiar branding, I should say, can help signal to the audience that you're still you and you still have, you're still behind the steering wheel. I'll put it that way. We're kind of, again, I'm going back to sort of the societal customs now that if we just appear on social media with a smile on our face, we're in control and everything's fine. And we know that's not true logically because we're all human and we have really bad days and chapters and we still show up on social media everything's fine. There's a lot of pressure to do that, and some people choose to continue to show up on social media even when things aren't okay. Some people take a break and just go silent, which is totally understandable, but some people feel like they have to keep talking to their audience even while going through something pretty big. So with that known pressure, just calling it like it is, if you are having a tone change in your content or maybe a new chapter of your show and you're going to present this message, maybe it's this one-time message or this is how we're going to do things from here on out, I want you to also think about how you're going to talk to your audience about it, because the longer you're a show host and the longer you have built rapport with an audience and they've come to trust you and really listen to you as someone they have a relationship with, it's valuable and important to prep them for changes and acknowledge the change and let them know that you appreciate them being on the path with you and that you're whatever way you're going to show up going forward, you acknowledge it. I think one of the pitfalls I've seen show hosts fall into is when they've been building an audience for a while, they've had, a certain amount of success and they feel that relationship to audience, but they have either burned out or something really big has happened in their personal life or whatever. It could be economic, financial. It is tempting to just feel I can't let them down. I'm just going to go ghost them. I'm just going to go silent. I just can't get the message out. And of course you're human and you have to understand your own limitations. But if you at all have any bandwidth, and it's okay to ask a friend for help and not do it on your own, if you can message appropriately to your audience that there's a change, could be good or bad, it will go miles to letting that audience feel appreciated and like they're in the loop. You don't have to give an over extended level of detail to them about what's going on, especially if it's maybe personal or sensitive in nature. There's an appropriate level of detail to share with them when a change is happening, but in addition to signaling something's different with your branding, you can communicate it with your voice and say, hey, you guys, there's a change, or there's an exciting announcement, or there's a new chapter starting. And I wanted to tell you in my own words what's going on, and be patient with me while I figure out this next chapter. I mean, even that right there goes miles. Just the courtesy of you've given me so much of your attention and time over the years, and I'm going to reciprocate that with an acknowledgement. Can go a really, really long way into creating understanding and grace from an audience to let you figure it out and maybe be a little more quiet or take some time versus just silence, ghosting, no explanation, or, you know, a smiling selfie with the music not matching the lyrics, you know. So it's a bit of a different topic on today's video. I think this is relevant for anybody at different times in their lives. So hopefully you stumbled across this at the right time for you. If you have more questions about this, or maybe a specific situation that you're trying to navigate, like how do I brand and communicate this responsibly to my audience, like feel free to drop a comment or send an email. Subscribe to the channel because we're going to be bringing you more, and we'll see you in the next video.